This is Talk Business and Politics with Roby Brock.
Welcome to today's Talk Business and Politics Daily. I'm Roby Brock. It's Monday. We're joined by John Brummett of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. Always good to have him with us the first of the week to get our week off to a good start. Really, you got us off to a good start on Sunday, too. So, because you were in the Sunday program.
I appreciated rerunning the arrows on Sunday, and that was good.
No arrows today. We're just going to talk. Our cup runneth over with opportunities to talk about things today. And let us begin with what has been the weekend's most controversial subject matter. Can you guess what it's going to be? Because there's several.
Well, but I think see if I get this right. You're leaning toward the president's speech in Huntsville, Alabama, and the ensuing NFL player.
I think that dominated more conversation.
I would put that
than
number
anything else.
one just for talking points this weekend. Yes.
Are the people who are kneeling, are they protesting the anthem and the flag in their country, or are they protesting some sort of police brutality and injustice? Straighten out people who have a contrary opinion.
The original kneeling, which began, I guess, with Colin Kaepernick, and then those who joined him were protesting what they saw generally. I think maybe several things, but I believed most specifically racial injustice, mostly as represented by police treatment of African Americans in our society. I thought that what it was about. Then there were some who simply decided to kneel, I think, in support of him and the backlash against him. The mass kneeling yesterday, as you understand, was in protest of the president referring to them as SOBs, the President of the United States calling them that, and calling on their bosses to fire them for their expression of their beliefs, or any of them for that reason. And I think there was some element, not complete obviously, but a wide element of solidarity in backlash against Trump personally for the tone and the substance of what he said in Alabama, which you didn't ask, but Trump went to Alabama because he wants to win, and he's endorsed this strange, even though Roy Moore is fine with him. But and Roy Moore is an extreme right-winger who believes his view of religion is supreme to the Constitution, and he says that, and he behaves that way, and he takes extremely intolerant, extreme right-wing views. I think Trump said, "I got to go down there and say something for Luther. I got to out Roy Moore," and he picked the NFL issue. I think purely tactically, somewhat cynically, and set off this incredible weekend of wholly regrettable activity.
That's how you see it. That summarizes it all up right there.
Well,
what do you think? How do you think it plays out? So it plays to Trump and his core base, this 35% or so that support him no matter what. But it also appeals to some better angels and some people that have pushed back on this. And there has been some unification of probably a few coalitions of people that wouldn't normally kind of side on the same side of things. When I look at my Twitter feed and see Democrats and activists in some different areas, and even some libertarians and strict constitutionalists that say the president's wrong on this, and I'm with them.
Well, there have been two levels of reaction to this, and that's interesting. The first is, this is cynical and this is tactical, and one, it plays to Trump's base, and Trump seems to behave rhetorically for his base rather than for all of America. But then there was this thought that, 70% of the electorate is white, and there's a lot of resentment against Black Lives Matter and this whole tone of our debate about this issue. And he probably, this is not going to hurt him. This may actually help him a little. But then the reaction was the official reaction by NFL owners who were previously his supporters, by others. And even Rand Paul, finally, as Chuck Todd finally got him to say Sunday, he didn't want to say, but he said, if I were president, I would not make an issue of this. I think, and the language, there is still some thought in America that there ought to be some dignity and decorum to the rhetoric of our president. And the words he used, I think, didn't help him. I think it has certainly not helped him, and may have harmed him marginally at the present time.
Some of this also, too, was seen as a distraction from another issue that has been dominating the president's agenda and the international agenda, and that is North Korea and the rhetoric between the North Korean leader and the United States leader, and these insults that are going back and forth, and the personal nature of them is really, to many people, escalating a situation. There's some comedy from some supporters who think calling the Kim Jong-un little rocket man is okay and somewhat funny, but it's not going to be so funny when there's a hydrogen bomb detonated somewhere over the Pacific Ocean, is it?
No, that's what is generally speculated to be maybe the North Korean guy's reaction. That would be the most egregious and threatening action yet. And for a president who said Obama should never have drawn a red line in Syria and then not backed it up, for him to be spouting this kind of thing, I read this morning in the New York Times, several top White House aides are skittish, worried that the rhetoric is ill-advised. Then I've also said, you people don't get it. This is the good cop, bad cop routine. You're going to have Trump out here being Trump, and then you're going to have Tillerson in the State Department back channeling, and it's all part of a strategy. And it's Trump's rhetoric it has some tactical benefit in this case because it has the potential to scare, alarm these guys more than they have been before, and that's part of this overall strategy. But I think we've listened. People who keep up in the world know that the current American president says a lot of stuff that he doesn't mean, that doesn't bear out. More concerning is whether the North Korean guy gets that and whether he means what he says. I mean, we know our guy, his talk is cheap. We know the other guy's crazy, but we don't know if his talk is as cheap. I find it all highly alarming, and I hope the good cop, bad cop, we can only hope, because none of us has really great command of how to deal with the North Korean situation. But I hope it's a good cop, bad cop routine that is not as dangerous as it sounds. That's all we're left to do. Yeah. Just hope that.
Kim Jong-un, I butchered his name earlier, but I'll correct it.
Well, I didn't even want to try it, but good. You knew
all right,
who it was.
Let's take a quick commercial break. We're going to come back and talk Graham Cassidy,
yes,
and we are going to also talk about Jared Kushner in a little bit of new hot water. So stick around. All right, we're back right after this.
Arkansas Electric Cooperative Corporation provides electric energy across 2/3 of Arkansas. This is an exciting time in our energy history, with incredible progress being made in renewable energy and storage technologies. As our energy portfolio continues to diversify, we'll maintain an all-the-above strategy to provide reliable and affordable electricity. Ever since the first light bulbs were placed in our members' homes, the electric cooperatives have been the solutions provider for our members, and we want to continue that well into the future.
Each day, the promise of our nation begins again. Arkansas and America, moving forward. I help make that promise a reality. It's not for everyone, but people everywhere depend on us.
Oh, I love you too, sweetie.
Trucking delivers, or everything stops. And that's what drives me.
I did.
Welcome back to Talk Business and Politics Daily. I'm Roby Brock with John Brummett of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. Let's talk some domestic issues now at the federal level. Let's begin with Graham Cassidy. You brought this up last week. It has certainly morphed into a much bigger debate nationally than it was a week ago. I still think that today, as we are taping this on a mid-Monday morning, I'm not convinced that there's 50 votes on the Republican side to push Graham Cassidy through. I'm not sure if there's even still the potential for it, but there may be.
I'm not sure of two things. I'm not sure there's 50 votes. I'm not sure there won't be 50 votes by the time that they're through. When McCain made his dramatic statement last week, well, it had dramatic effect. He just made a casual statement, but it had dramatic effect. That appeared to mean that Rand Paul, who thinks the bill by keeping Obamacare is unfit, that Susan Collins, who pretty clearly
has problems with it.
Averse. And in McCain, that puts him at 49, and that seemed to lock it in. But Rand Paul goes on TV and says, you know, right now that's the way I feel, but if we just take out this block grant and just agree on the things we agree about, do away with the mandates, I could vote. So that was a possibility. And then then you've got Murkowski in Alaska, whose vote might still be pivotal. They're coming back with a bill. I haven't seen any more about it today so far. They're coming back with a bill that says Alaska and Maine, for whatever reason, I understand Alaska, have particular challenges in their healthcare markets. Alaska, as you understand, because it's poor, it's diverse, it's sparse, yeah. And some of these and the premiums have gone way up, and there's not any competition because people don't serve there. And Medicaid is very important, but they're just going to try to buy her vote with more money. But it is, you can sort of justify that Alaska is a unique situation. I still see him at 40.
But then you still got Ted Cruz even threw out there that
Ted Cruz
don't have his vote yet.
I thought Ted just decided yesterday he wasn't getting enough attention, so hey, I don't like it either. There's something I want. And if they're going to do this for Murkowski, and if they put more money in for Collins, I think Cotton and Bozeman ought to say they're on the fence. And let's get something for Arkansas. We're a poor state with some special needs. That's a bad way to do business. I don't think it's going to pass. Friday is the deadline. I don't think it is. But it is so fluid. And they may be so willing to pass anything that they might end up by week's end and working on Saturday, the 30th, and doing the Rand Paul thing. Well, let's just do the 3 or 4 simple little things we agree on so that we can say we did something. I think that remains a possibility at this.
When we talk next week, we will know what.
Well, it will be Monday, and the September 3rd deadline for doing it by budget reconciliation will have passed, so we will know. But I don't think they're going to get the Medicare block grants done, but they might get something done.
All right, another issue late developing on Sunday evening, Politico, Josh Dawsey, who has been on this TV show before, sharp reporter from South Carolina.
That gives him high credibility. If he's been in this chair, no, he's been
on satellite.
Okay.
So anyhow, good reporter for Politico, covers the White House beat there, reveals that Jared Kushner and apparently Ivanka Trump have a private email system for conducting some business. Maybe not to the magnitude of Hillary Clinton, but certainly of the same order that was really the rallying cry for opposition to Hillary Clinton by many Trump supporters who chanted, lock her up over this private email server. He sets it up after the election to conduct business on. How far does this go? How big does this potentially mushroom, especially when you look at all the other controversies of the day that are dominating people's attention?
You framed it exactly right. That at the present time, based on what we know, which is largely this one piece from Politico, the value of it to Democrats and to Trump administration critics is, well, you hypocrites, just an outrage. Lock Jared up. If you're going to make that kind of a deal about Hillary having a private email server, he did it after all of that. That's the value of it at present, and I don't think that's very long lasting. It just makes Democrats feel good to say, "Look at you." I think that's I think that will be the sum of it in the end, because I think, and this is not based on any follow-up reporting, that she did have information that was potentially classified inadvertently. Nothing so far of the Political report suggests that happened here. Some Obama people will tell you that you have private email and you have work email, and sometimes the work email got forwarded to or sent to the personal email. Sometimes that happens. It happens to all of us. Mm-hmm. Sure. So, and they're saying, could be false, but they're saying, Kushner's lawyers are saying, most of the work-related emails that are on that server were not generated by Jared, but receipt, people sending him things. It's bad policy. It violates rules of how information ought to be handled. It's a legitimate story, but at the present time, and I think I can tell by the look in your face, you think I've got this sized up about right. This is mainly, its main benefit right now is for Democrats to just laugh. Lock him up. If you want to lock her up, lock him up. That's its benefit right now, absent any further reporting, which we may soon see. Yeah. Trump himself apparently does no email. The Political things that he knows how to tweet. Apparently, there's an indication strongly he knows how to tweet. But email, they say his assistant has to print emails for him, which is interesting. Because
I've known people of that generation that are that way. As a matter of fact, I had a relative one time that used to get our morning email, and he asked me, how do you fax that to all those places every morning like that?
Robin, I have a very close relationship with someone very bright in my family who still thinks in terms of hard copy. It's just, could I get a printout of that? And I'm going, a what? Because I've moved on into the modern era.
But you can get a hard copy of John Brummett's columns on
Thank goodness.
Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays.
Yes, and then you get it online only on Wednesdays. And that one can be printed out on your printers if you have any.
If you need a hard copy of it.
Right. And at present, I will bring one to your house if you will subscribe.
New delivery service. Let's rack up the travel for John Brummett on this one. That'll be good. Always good to be with you, my friend.
It's a great, great pleasure.
All right. That's all for today's Talk Business and Politics Daily. Thanks for watching.